What up, YouTube? Back at you with another long form video. I've been asked a few times to make more long form content versus shorts. Clearly you want to hear me ramble. I used to make a lot of long form videos when I first started my channel. The size of my channel at the time, the algorithm didn't really accept my videos, so they weren't getting any views or barely any. So I kind of got discouraged and stopped doing them. But you guys got this channel to where it's at now. We're about to hit 11K. That's huge. The interacting with the channel, the comments, everything you do has really grown it and gotten us to the point where I can make different kinds of videos, and I know that people are going to engage and interact with it and it'll perform better. So thanks for that. Even if you don't know what to say, just comment like an emoji or something, or just, whatever. Any little bit counts. Hit the like button, subscribe, drop a comment. It helps this channel go a long ways. So you guys are the reason why we're at the point we're at now. So anything you want to see me do, let me know. If it sounds good to me, I'll make a video on it. I'm going to start doing more tutorial videos. I was recently asked to make a video kind of showing how I do my drawing process. And I would say now we're at a point where we have a community going. There's a core group of you guys. You know who you are. You're the heart and soul of this channel. The more people we get, the more this algorithm will accept the Sticky Paint Fingers channel, and we can do more stuff. And I would love to give back to you guys. I feel like I'm in debt to my viewers. I entertain you, but you guys are the ones watching. I'm not trying to be cheesy, but this is all because of you guys. So the bigger we can get, the more I want to do giveaways and merch giveaways, art giveaways, all that. So thanks for riding with me through the thick and thin. But enough about that. We're going to do a tutorial, a drawing video of how I draw. My whole process, yada, yada, yada. We're going to get in depth with this. So first things first, if you've seen yesterday's episode, I talked about drawing on these 228 labels. You don't got to do that. Get whatever you're comfortable with. You got a sketchbook. You got an old pizza box, piece of cardboard. I don't know. Whatever you got, get it. And we're going to draw something. Using a mechanical, that's all I got. Nothing fancy. And what I'm going to do today is, instead of drawing a character you've seen before, I'm going to create something. I prefer creating my own characters. I do like drawing the horror characters, the Ninja Turtles, the superheroes, but I have a whole universe of my own characters, and that's really what I like doing, because the end game of this whole channel is one day I want to have a cartoon. So the first step is I'm going to start my sketch. And before I start, I want to just, in my head, get the placement. So I already know right here, I kind of like to draw my characters as a bust. And what I mean by that is I'll have like my shoulders here. Sometimes I'll just do a big head, but I'm going to have my shoulders about here. This is going to be like his chest, his belly, and his other arm, okay? And then we're going to build that out, make it more defined. So then up here, what we're going to do is we're going to have our pumpkin head. We're going to have his lip come down. And I'm sketching super light because this isn't even really my sketch. I'm just adding a little bit of bones in here, and then we're going to do our foundation. So there's how I want it, right here. We're going to do a stem. This side needs to be a little bigger. So right there, we got the shape of our character. Now what we can do, we're going to go in and just kind of, we know where everything's at. It's going to be his belly. And you just give him a little bit of moves, you know what I mean? I'll build the arm out, give shoulder. And then with the stem, we're just gonna build that out. So I'm basically, what I'm doing is sketching over my shape. Add the lines because we're gonna give this pumpkin some definition. This is gonna be the bottom lip right here. And then real lightly, once we're outlining them, these lines are gonna be super thin. Welcome back. So, if the drawing looks any different to you, it's because behind the scenes I had a big battle with myself. I'm gonna do that, no, I'm gonna do this, and then it got kind of messy. So I kind of switched things up. Here we go, I'm going back to my ways now. Fun part of sketching, you just keep changing it. This is what I'm gonna do. You may not see it, I see it in my head, all good. It'll make sense in the end. Broad these shoulders up a little bit more. He's not necessarily a tough guy, but he's gonna have, you know, that dad bod. A little bit of strength to him, you know what I mean? Now, with the eyes, I'm gonna start with my brow, right where it meets the bridge of the nose, as if we were drawing a human, but he's not gonna be a human. We got that established. So skip the nose, got the brow, let's add our eyes. Oh, I give him a kind of a mean look. So what I'm doing, I'm just kind of building off that line. Get him some mean eyes, you know what I mean? And then we'll add all the little detail up in there. You know, the lines, all that. Because if I recall, I had this action figure when I was a kid, and I really liked how the mouth was. So we're gonna start like that. And then I believe the mouth was, and it kind of had like, almost like Venom teeth, but in pumpkin form. My videos are not scripted, so if I have this wrong, it's because I'm just thinking in my head. But either way, I want the mouth to look like this. And then that's gonna be like our bottom lip. That's gonna come up, he's gonna have little humps right there. Yeah, he's got little nips. He's shirtless, you know what I mean? So that's our character, the base, the foundation, and we're just gonna work off this. So next what I wanna do is just clean up some of this. Because we're gonna be using alcohol markers, and sometimes your lighter colors, the pencil will just stay right through. And that's okay in some parts because your like main lines, you're gonna hit with your outline anyways and cover that up. But like some of this sketchiness right there, hold up. Like you're eating hot food, you know. So there, that's the sketch, that's the character we got. We're gonna choose our colors and then we'll get started with that. Now let's go color shopping. We got our character. And now looking at him, you already know, okay, well, we're gonna need an orange, all right? So going through, you don't just wanna pick an orange and be done with it. Say I'm using two colors. I'm gonna do orange, and I'm gonna do some brown. Color them in? No. What I want to get a mixture of colors. So say I got my orange, well I'm gonna pick a lighter orange. Need that. Let's get a variety of browns. So I got 3 oranges and I got 4 browns. The 4 browns might be overkill. So 3 and 3. Okay, well then what color do I want to do his eyes? His eyes and his mouth, I want to do like a yellow. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take these colors And I'm gonna put down my lightest. And then I'm gonna go to the medium. And then my darkest. And that's how we're gonna do our shading. So we could just say he's gonna be orange, yellow, and brown. These are the 3 colors we're using, we're done. No. You wanna give him some life, you wanna add the details, so we're gonna mix all these colors together. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, hold up, this looks different again. Yes, behind the scenes I did some little tweaking to it. That's the thing with your sketch. Do your sketch, do your foundation, your baselines, walk away from it, come back to it, stare at it. You're gonna see little things and, well, let's see what this looks like, and you'll just keep tweaking it to perfection. If you're using alcohol markers, you always keep one of these little testers. You know, you wanna test your shades. See what colors blend well together. If you know, you know. If you don't know, now you know. So we're gonna start with our base. This is pretty self-explanatory, just color in the lines. I'm using chisel tips. If you got brush tips, whatever. I recommend maybe not a fine point just because you can, but it's gonna take you a little longer. And my advice when you're doing this, just want to kind of keep everything going in the same direction. And the reason I say that, if you sit here and just scribble like a psychopath, it's going to show once the marker dries. You're just going to see streaks everywhere. Kind of want to just keep this smooth. It just looks nicer. See, and as this dries, you're going to see what I mean. You can see some pieces where they're just like, and then you look at it and you just see it going in every direction. But see how that's just going together as one solid blend, okay? And now we're gonna do the same with this, but we have more road bumps over here. So we're gonna come up, we're gonna hit the eyes and the mouth. So what I like to do, I'm gonna go in and we're just gonna cut the eyes out. And when I'm using chisel tips, it's all about turning it. So right here, I'm gonna go really wide, twist it with my fingers, and then come in on the tip. Maybe that works for you, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Come in, cut up, come in, cut up, come in. Like such. If you need to, flip it around, do a fine point, and you can get in there and, you know, be safe with it. I'm feeling a little dicey right now, I guess. Let's just continue cutting in these teefies. And the reason I'm doing this right now is I'll show you. One motion. Now let's finish the pumpkin part. Okay, now watch this. It's just faster than sitting there and just working around everything. Just hit your little spots. And we just want to cover this area. Don't worry about any kind of intense nothing right now. Just basic coloring, but not like a psychopath. Remember that, that's important. Keep it going in one direction, like the boy band. There, we got that. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that same color and I'm going to go into areas. Now, I'm not looking at any kind of reference. I'm just making this up as I go. You do what you want to do. It's your art piece. But what I'm going to do is around these eyes, I'm going to take the same color and just do some strokes over it. And you're going to see how that color goes in thick. Do the same with the other eye. Okay, I'm going to go up. Do his brow area. And then around the teeth, kind of do the same thing. And like I said, just add this in wherever you think you want to add it. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. We're drawing cartoons here. But as you can see, you're seeing that color difference. And see how I'm going on angle too? And now that I'm going this way, I'm going to do the opposite angle. Actually, I'm going to cut right up the top, right here, right in the middle. And now I'm going to go on an angle in the opposite direction. And then right up here. You can see those whole spots of difference, huh? Now up here, I'm just going to do a little bit of like what we were doing. So the easiest way of describing this is imagine your light source. Let's say our light source is right here, so our shadows are going to be over this way. So add some of that here, add some of that here, add some of that there. And now with the body, we'll hit the shoulder. I got a little bit of a belly, you know what I mean? Just blend it out. The more times you go over it, the darker it's going to get. And I want a lot of darkness over on this side. Now let's come through with another orange and just do that same process. Hit those spots that you already went over. Now I'm going to come through with my darkest color. This is actually a vermilion red. And I don't want to add too much. And you don't want to go crazy dark at the same time. I'm just kind of following where I want my detail to be. And just like a dash, a dash, a dash. Just remember where you've been adding everything. And then you're just going to add a little sprinkles of that. Now I'm going to come through with my yellow, and we're just going to repeat the same process. Color that in. And remember what I said before, just don't scribble like a psychopath. Keep a little flow going with your colors. Now let's come through with the darker shade. Just kind of add it. You see the difference. The more you go in one area and the darker it'll get. And I'm just kind of adding it where I want to add it. And then we'll come back and hit those darker areas again. Now let's come through and add our stem. I picked a lighter brown, and then I also have a darker brown that we're gonna hit up. So let's just put our lighter down first. And now looking at it, I'm like, man, you know, he needs that dash of green, I think. So what I'm gonna do is just add in a leaf. I think that's sweet. I could be wrong, but we're gonna go for it. You'll never know unless you add things. You learn from your mistakes, you find out what works and what doesn't. I think that's sweet, it needed it. Sometimes a little dash of color will bring out your artwork. And now remember, same process. We got our leaf. Okay, well let's add a darker shade. I'm just gonna go up the blades of the leaf. And now let's do the same with the brown. Come through and think of like the texture of a pumpkin stem. And I'm going to take another brown. Just kind of darken some areas up. Come back, hit it. You'll see. See that? Kind of gives a little bit of a glow. And now what I'm going to do is take a brush tip paint marker and I'm gonna hit some colored strokes in there. This is my little signature thing I like to do. Just a little bit of colored detail in there. Don't be afraid to try new things. You see, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not gonna sit here all day and be like, should I do this, should I do that? Just do it. So what, you screw up. Learn from it. Hit a little bit of highlights up in here. And add some in the eyes. Now, before we dive into the outlining, I just want to show you how these little highlights go a very long way. Now, it gives him kind of like he's glowing. It gives him that look. I like to add that to all my characters. And the way you base that is just remember where your light source is. My light source is over here. I'm going to have shadows over here. You added in the dark areas around features, around textures, grooves, and then you want to base your little highlights off of that. And there's no wrong or right way to do it. Put them in where you feel. Just kind of experiment, feel around. I'm gonna put it here, I'm gonna put it here. Okay, that didn't work, this works, I like this. I'm gonna continue doing it this way. Trial and error, that's the best way. Now, this is the most important part, your outlining. And I say it's the most important because you can be really good at coloring and shading and everything, but if you don't got clean, crispy outlines, it discredits everything you did. Your outlines stand out. It is the most important part of your drawing. You want that to be clean all through, and then they can see inside those outlines all the color and the little details. So I got a fine tip black marker and an extra fine. What I'm going to do is our main outlining first, and then I'm going to go through with the extra fine and add a little detail and outline some of the smaller areas. So I'm going to start with just going around the whole character, and then we'll start working on the inside. You can do whatever's easiest for you. This is just what I do. And when you're outlining, you want to do it like how I just did one line. You don't want to sit there and kind of sketch your outline. You want it to just be a one shot. So go from point A to wherever point B is, where you're comfortable. If you want to go here to here, that's okay. Here to here, that's okay. If you want to go here and stop there, it makes it a little more difficult because then you really got to pick up where you left off, and you don't want to see that transition. So here to here, and then try and go all the way. And see how my wrist moves when I do that? Point A, point B. Okay, we're going to go from here to here. So I'm going to turn my wrist. You want your wrist to bend as you do that line. You don't want, it's not like in your fingers where you're like, Move your wrist and just hit that one shot. Clean and straight. Do the same thing here. We're gonna hit these grooves, and don't forget, we have that lip right there. Hit the body. And then what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to flick off that. So I'm going to come up, ride that, and just flick. Get our leaf. The less you have to take your marker tip off the paper, the better. And I just like a thick black outline. And when you're doing long lines like that in one shot, just make sure you have a good grip. You don't want anything to slide. Screw your line up. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit this mouth real quick. And feel free to turn your artwork around. You want to have comfortable angles, especially when you're doing straight lines. So now that we have that, we're going to go through and start adding in little details. So what I want to do, kind of get the eyes. I'm going to ride down this line and add a little bit of the brow. Same with this. come through with the extra fine, then just add in some more detail. I'm gonna do the same little bottom eye, add that in there. Add little things in here. Just little detail that I like to add. This is where I can come in and kind of sharpen things up. I'm gonna take these points. Having that extra fine tip gives you the chance to hit some of these areas that you wouldn't be able to with a bigger marker. Now I'm gonna hit some of these grooves right here. I don't want to do them all because some of these are close to that line. And we're just adding this in. You know, we don't have any reference of where this should go. We're just kind of just going where we think. Just flick those lines. Let's add another one right here. And what you want to do though is be careful because this is wet paint. And sometimes you get in the zone and you forget. Next thing you know, your hand's sitting in it. You got black all over the place. The only way of, if that happens, take a colored paint marker like an orange and you're going to have to doctor that area up. It happens to me all the time. You just got to learn to be good at covering it. And we're just going to add a little accents throughout here. Let's add some to the stem. And what I'm doing, I'm just adding like little grooves, little detail. If you think of a pumpkin stem, it's got all those little lines in it. Add them in. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're drawing a cartoon. Just adding little parts of the arm. Let's follow that line. Let's go like this. Up like that. Get parts of his neck. Thicken up that line right there. For his belly button, I do like little spirals. Get his elbow. And now what I want to do, I want to add my outer glow. Kind of like an aura around the character. And I like to pick a color that's opposite of the colors I'm using. So say I'm using like warm colors. I got a dash of green in there, not a big deal. Got a brown. I'm gonna rock a cool color. I think probably this ice blue would look sweet. And the reason, like, I don't want to do a yellow. I don't want to do a red. I don't want to do anything like that because I want it to pop. So this ice blue is gonna complement that yellow and that orange. So I think. Let's check it out. When you do something like that, make sure that your paint, your black, is dry, or else you're going to be dragging that marker and it's going to connect with that black and probably cause a mess. Same concept as to when you're outlining, just slow and steady, focus, don't rush it. Definitely don't want to rush any of this. Don't rush the outline. Have fun doing it. You're not racing against the clock. And if you are in a hurry, it's going to show. Just stay focused on that line. Don't let anything slide. And remember, it's all in the wrist. And action shot. That's how I do it. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you. That's my full process, full tutorial of how I like to do things. Take bits and pieces from it. Be original. Be yourself. Make your own art. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you're new. Stoked to have you here. I think this came out pretty sweet. I hope you did too.